Motherfucker. God damn it. I'm sorry, you guys. Son of a bitch. Anyway, I overslept. No, technically I didn't oversleep. Technically, I was never really asleep. Stayed up all night working on shit, and wanted to take pictures of Amber because today's her last day of school, and so she left at around 8:30. So stayed up until basically 8:30. And then sat on the couch and promptly fell asleep on the couch. Forgot to set alarms and all that shit here, man. So I look down at my phone and I see it's 12:27 and I see this message from Brandon. I'm like, fuck. So, yeah, I quickly ran down here, started the stream up and everything, and got the timer going. Ran upstairs, changed my shirt because I still had my shirt on from yesterday. Splashed some water on my face, and here we are. So, sorry about that, folks. Sorry. Fucking stupid ass. Anyway, yeah, that's my bad. So, all right. With that being said, let's get to it. Yeah. Son of a bitch. Anywho, how are you guys? Oh shit, man. Let's get caught up with the chat because I'm sure this will be entertaining, right? Let's see. Let's start before we started the chat. Yeah. Let's see. Brandon of course is with us, so thank you, Brandon, for messaging me. I appreciate that, dude. Charles Dodge, what's going on, Charles? Julius Giovanni. Let's see. Excuse me. Everybody's thinking hoping I'm good. Yeah, just tired. Christ. But Greg Blair, Loosh, what's going on, boys? Julia says, no worries, Tim. I was able to get the grass cut. Now I won't miss any of the stream. Did you do that in the half hour? I was late. Oh, shit, man. Greg Blair says, that was my plan this morning, but it's already a 90. Yeah, dude, it's a bit toasty out here on the West Coast. It's a bit toasty. Ranger Chris is with us morning. Mbuck Games says, no worries, man. Brandon says, hey, man, gotta take care of yourself, too. Sleep is important. Yeah, I'm definitely taking a nap after this. I'm not gonna lie, boys. Greg says, I got 4 acres to cut. I'm not doing that in 90-degree heat. Oh, man. See, back when I had a lawn to mow, mind you, I hated mowing lawns. Always have, always probably will. But when I did have a lawn to mow back at the old house, because I don't mow the lawn here, the HOA has, folks to come in and cut it. So that's awesome. But I would always, the hotter the better. And I don't know why. I'm weird like that, right? I don't like to go outside when it's hot, leisurely, or every day. But if I'm out, if I have to be outside, like working, or if I'm out walking or something like that on the trail or whatever, oh man, the hotter the better. It helps. I don't know. For me, it helps like loosen up my muscles and joints and everything, and it's just, yeah. But then, of course, here on the East Coast, it's always humid or humidity that gets you, right? It's not the heat, it's the humidity. Ranger Chris, right there with you, Tim. Have gut issues that decided to flare up. Oh man, Lelouch says get you some coffee, right? And Buck says, I ran outside to clean the gutters and had no idea what time it was. I'm so glad you're late. Oh, shit. Man, oh, man. Julia says, nothing like starting your morning at 100 miles an hour. Dude, right? And then Lelouch says, I baked a lasagna. Thanks for being late, Tim. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I knew the comments were going to be entertaining. So, yeah. Ay. Can you imagine if this was like a nighttime stream and there was like 20, 30 people waiting and I'm like, oh my god. Still bad enough. Still bad enough. Anyway, let's go camera 2, yeah? Oh my. Like I said, today's Amber's last day of school. I posted, a story about that on Instagram. And yeah, just wanted to be up, to see her off to her last day, take some pictures, and, just kind of remember the moment. So since I was up, I figured, screw it, I'll stay up, right? Bad idea. Bad idea. Anyway. Alright, so we've got the leg parts all duplicated, right? They look pretty good. Let's go super zoom here real quick. Oh yeah, here we go. That's better. That's a bit better. Where are we going? There we are. So, yeah. So this one is the original. This is the one we made first, and then here are the duplicates, and they came out pretty good. Now, I was working working on this overnight. Shit, I can't even say last night because it's been overnight. Mainly because I forgot to duplicate these during the day yesterday, and I got busy working on other shit. Working on, God, what didn't I work on yesterday? I can't even think of it. Yeah, just a lot of shit working. Anyway, so this is the original right down over here. These are the duplicates, and let's show you here real quick, kind of in detail, this guy. There we are. Turn him upside down. There we go. That's a little bit of a better angle. Completely outline scribed. That's looking really, really good here. Let's see. Got a little. Where's the little pointer here? There we go. Let's see if we can get. There we go. Right there. So got a little itty bitty notch. Where are you? Right there on that top layer. Right there. You can kind of see it poking out there in the shadow. You see that at the edge a little bit. Yeah, so everything's looking really, really good there. Very nice looking. And then the duplicate, haven't done the outline scribing. We'll do that here today. But yeah, that looks good. If you didn't see the summary from yesterday, I called this a plastic lasagna because of the layers. So anyway, we're gonna start on this. Let's get these out of the way. Let's get all the plastic bits and shit. All right, let's get the 1, 2, 3 block in here. Right? Nope. There. Perfect. Okie dokie. Whew. So, now let's get to outline scribing these. So for this, I'm going a little thicker than normal, using the 0.2 rather than the 0.15, right? So not a huge difference, but for this, I think the extra kind of little shadow works in our favor here. So, all right. So, right about there, that'll work. Okie doke. So, I start in here with the long edge, right? And now I tried to make sure all of the glue squeeze out was cleaned up before you know, I did anything. But with this, I'm just going through and kind of riding the edge of the parts and just kind of lightly pushing into the plastic, and that just helps to make sure that all of the glue squeeze out is removed. So there we go. So now, got a nice, come on, nice clean edge to scribe into. There we go, and then wrap this line around. Right onto the edge here. Now, one thing that I thought about last night for these fin pieces is that we've got all this great, awesome detail on this side, right? But then, the fuck are we gonna do on this side? You know, because this thing, this part right here, wraps around, and we need to do something. We can't, you know, just end it there. But we don't have a lot of space because the vent is right there as well, right? So what I may do is wrap maybe a 1/4 millimeter strip around on the inside of the fin and call it a day. I'm still kind of thinking on that though, so we'll jump that hurdle when we get there, or when we need to. It's not a huge issue right this second. So, but I think that's what I'll probably end up doing, is just wrapping you know, this same width of 1/4 mil strip around on the inside, and just, you know, call it a day. It's, you know, more than likely it. All right, so let's get this perpendicular line right here along the edge. Oh, there's a little glue right there. Yep, there it is. Just that little, look at that, there's that little speck of glue right there. Just that little thing. That will throw off your scribe line like crazy. And if it was in a more predominant area, say, you know, on the head or the chest or something like that, that people actually, you know, looked at closely and scrutinized more, man, that would cause your panel line to be, you know, crooked and everything. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but still, it would be noticeable to the human eye. You may not necessarily be able to call it out or contemplate that, oh, that's the reason why it's all, you know, it looks weird, but that, like I said, it would definitely be noticeable. All right. Let's get the corner cleaned out from all that debris, because we're scribing this little line in this direction. All the debris builds up in this corner, and it effectively blocks the chisel from, you know, doing its job here in the corner. So that's why it's very, very important to clear out that debris. There we go. Very nice. Now, when I go about outline scribing a detail, right, what I'll do is, especially like for this line, I'll stop right at the edge of this corner piece, right? And then once that depth is established, then I'll go just a little bit beyond to be able to match up these lines here. Ugh. Now, one thing that I noticed last night is this inner frame of the Shiki is that soft crap plastic that Bandai makes, and I am not a fan. I'm not a fan whatsoever. It is tough to scribe, and it's just it's not a great formula for polystyrene. I don't know why they still use this shit, because it's nasty stuff. Like, you can, when you're scribing in it, you can feel that this compared to the white polystyrene, there is an absolute density change, and your chisel has a tendency to skip on this this softer plastic, and yeah, it's not fun to scribe into this shit. I'd say it's the exact opposite. Now, this curve here that we cut into the plates is a bit tricky. Oof, gotta be careful right there at that corner, or else it'll jump, ramp out. There we go. Now we're getting to depth. Makes it a little bit easier to scribe this curve. There we go. All right, much better. All right, on to the front bit here. Oof. Yeah, okay, so let me try to show you what I see here with this. Let's see if I can get it real nice and close there. Okay, so maybe right there. All right, so what I'm trying to show you here, kids, is this plastic, right? And this line right there that we just scribed on the front part there, you can basically see it looks like a ladder, right? There's a lot of perpendicular little white lines inside there, and that is an indication that the chisel itself is skipping, right? And that's what that looks like, and that's the issue that you run into with trying to scribe this soft, shitty plastic. It is challenging, to say the least. And for the life of me, I really wish Bandai would quit producing this type of plastic and just go back to, you know, the normal styrene mix for inner frames and stuff, right? Because let's see, the Shiki had this crap. I know the Sinanju Stein, that was kind of the first instance, if I remember correctly, that I ran into this soft plastic. And man, yeah, it's just it's kind of a nightmare to try and work with. Ugh. And it's weird. There's even like a weird, like tactile feel. Trying to scribe this stuff, and it's just it's just kind of gross working with this shit. You know, it's just kind of gross. And even like lighter passes, it doesn't really help too much. It helps a little bit, but I can still feel it skipping. Mm. There we go. All right. Ish. Okay. All right, not bad, not bad. We're getting there. We're getting there. Once we get this outline scribed, then it's, you know, we're free and clear of the craptastic plastic. Ooh, that's a good name. Craptastic plastic. Heyo. Just getting this back edge set in on this line here because it's one of the longer lines that we have to carve in here. And it's so weird because you think you have a smooth line and then you go, you know, all it takes is just one pass and it's like you know, it's like driving through Pennsylvania with the potholes and shit. But down here we call it Pennsyltucky. Heyo. There we go. All right. So, ooh, yeah, see there you can kind of see the shadow around, especially the front edge over here on that. That looks pretty good. Yeah. So that's essentially what we're wanting, right? With this slightly thicker outline, it's going to be able to catch more panel lining fluid and just look like more predominant, essentially, is what we're going for. Trying to get that shadow really, out there, and just make sure everybody sees that these parts are separated. There we go. All right, so should be done. Just clean all that out of there. All right, good. Done with that part now. Let's clean out this corner just ever so carefully. Come on. There we go. Just a little schmutz there. All right, good deal. Let's see. Let's get caught up here real quick. Let's see. Julia says, for some reason, maybe old age, I always wake up at 6:30 no matter what time I go to bed, even if I stay up till early in the morning. Jeez, dude. Yeah, I don't know how people do that. I am not one of them. Renee is. Renee always, when she stays with me, she always wakes up before me. And when I stay with her or whatever, if I'm visiting. Yeah, she always wakes up before me. Like, her sleeping in is like 8 a.m. Where my sleeping in could be, mid-afternoon. I'm a night owl by nature. Always have been. So, yeah, I get my best work done at night. Have no idea why. That's just kind of when, the creative gears are turning and excuse me, all that. Evidently, like, Benjamin Franklin and Einstein were, notorious, late nighters. And mind you, I'm not classifying myself with those two, but still, it's an interesting thing. Michael Dawson's with us. Hello, everyone. What's going on, Mikey? Ranger Chris with the...
We have a question!
He says, would a sharper blade resolve the issue, or is it purely an issue of the plastic? It is the plastic, unfortunately, because I've run into this over the course of years, and it's just, it's this soft plastic, and it even has like a tactile feel, as opposed to like your normal, styrene like this, or even, from another kit, even, like this. This has even a certain sound to it, right? Listen. Right? That's me just tapping on the right here. This is just, it's just kind of dead, There's nothing to it. And it feels almost rubbery. Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, the plastic is like a mix of rubber and plastic. Like I said rubbery when you typed that out. That's crazy, right? So no, I mean it is the plastic itself, yeah, it's a real pain to work with. I'll be honest with you. It's a real pain to work with. Cutting this, like clearing the nubs and everything on this plastic, isn't great either. And this plastic mars really, really easily. So taking this leg apart, putting it back together and all that crap, there are definite places where I've marred the plastic. But thankfully they're in inconspicuous places where, you know, it'll be behind armor or under another piece or something like that. So yeah, it's, I don't know. But Chris says, interesting. Now that makes me wonder how some of the Ecopla behaves. You know, I don't know much about the Ecopla, but from what I understand, it's basically just old cut-up runner. I think they mix, what, 20% old plastic with new plastic. And obviously the new plastic is going to be the, you know, the color of the end product, and that's going to, you know, overtake, you know, the color and everything. But yeah, from what I understand, the Ecopla is just, you know, your standard Bandai plastic. But yeah, I don't know what they do with these types of pieces that are already, you know, that are used to, you know, coming in this soft craptastic plastic. Hey-o, I do like that name. Brandon says that's the name of my next build. Craptastic plastic. Shit, man. Oh boy, that's funny. That's funny. All right, so let's get this little perpendicular little drop down line here. Get that set in place and get all the debris out of the corner here. There we go. Very nice. All right. So now we'll do kind of the same thing here that we did on this side. On the corresponding side here, we're just going to kind of run our chisel forward down this corner just to clear out any little bits of glue that are still left over. Yep, there's a little bit right there. Perfect. Making sure we got the edge nice and cut in. And there we go. Now, yeah, see, that is so much different. This is your standard polystyrene mix, right? And like, it just has, like I said, a different tactile feel. Like, you can run the chisel down and it just, like butter. There we go. All right, perfect. All right, so we've got our base part here outline scribed, so that looks good there. Let's see. Yeah, you can catch see how deep those shadows are. It's just, yeah, just all the way around. That nice deep shadow line will catch all of that, you know, panel lining fluid and everything, and that'll just, yeah, it'll look really good, really, really good. So, Let's see. Hendron's with us. What's going on, Hendron? Good to see you, buddy. He says that soft plastic is the KSP plastic Bandai started using in the mid 2010s. Yeah, it's terrible. Like I was telling these guys, it's just there's a different tactile feel. Like you run your finger over this as opposed to like, you know, normal plastic like this. And this feels like plastic, you know, it's smooth under the thumb. This, like Brandon had mentioned too, has a rubber, almost a rubbery type of feel on your fingers. And it's terrible to scribe. You know, because I had to run an outline through this part and then over to the fin, and you can feel, you can feel the tactile, just, you know, how it works and how it behaves, and it's just, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I wish they'd discontinue this shit and just go back to a normal mix. So, cheesy cream. What's going on? They say, hello there. What's going on, cheesy cream? Good to see you. Let's see. Hendron says the SDCS frame is made of that, and it's a bitch to scribe. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I showed everybody earlier, showed them kind of this front line that I scribed in, and you could see the, you know, the ladder pattern within the line, which, you know, shows it skipping basically. So yeah, huge pain in the butt, so, but we got it, so that's what matters. We got it. So, all right, so let's continue getting this outlined here. So now what I'm doing is outlining this next layer here, this middle layer, right? So just straight lines in good plastic. Much easier and better to scribe, man. The normal plastic mix, I'll tell you, the chisel just runs through this style plastic, which is, you know, the predominant material that Bandai uses. Just runs through it like butter, and it's a much better joy to work with than that craptastic plastic. There we go. Yeah, I mean, see right there, it just took us a few passes to establish that line. Well, I mean, you guys can't see it, but yeah, it's, you know, we're starting to take that shape. But yeah, I know I'm kind of bitching and moaning about it. It is what it is. Alright, so spin this thing around and get this little guy cleaned out of glue. These little bastards right here, oh, huge pain in the butt to duplicate. And at one point I had the 3 duplicates done, and I had them sitting on top of here, and at the I had it off to the left hand side of my desk, right? So the little parts, they're just sitting here, just 3 of them, right? And so I go and forget that they're on there, and I lay my arm on top of this thing, And a few seconds later, I see one of the parts off on the table, and I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And luckily, found all three of them. They didn't go too far, you know. But, yeah, these little bastards, pain in the butt. Okay. Make sure we're nice and tight up against this piece, or else it won't look like it's truly separated, you know? And that's essentially what we're trying to achieve, is that illusion that these parts are separate. Okay. Get our little corner. There. Come on. These little lines, these little connector lines that wrap around, are some of the more just pain in the butt lines to scribe, honestly. Because your chisel wants to go everywhere but that little line, right? And it's such a small pass that, you know, you have to be really, really careful. Good. So far, so good. Let's just get that. Yeah, see that little debris that we're getting out of there? Even with the toothbrush, sometimes you get that those little stubborn bits that just don't wanna do shit. There we go. Clean. Alright, good. Alright, so before we wrap this around to the front of that top piece, I'm going to get the other side mirrored up to what we're doing here. And again, I'm starting by ever so slightly just pushing the chisel right along the edge of this piece, just to make sure that there's no, you know, little bitty glue squeeze out or anything like that that could potentially mess us up here. But yeah, we're in good shape now. Very good. All right.
good, very good. Alright, come on, you. There we go. Scribing is sometimes a domino effect. And what I mean by that is that, say for instance, what I just did here, this plate right here, this base plate, right? It is, you know, obviously a different level. It sits on top of our fin and the base piece. And what I needed to do is cut in the line that goes down the thickness of the piece itself, right? And when I did that, it kind of introduced you know, debris into the lines here, and then, you know, we need to go back and you know, clear that out, obviously. But then I noticed the depth of this little line right here was not where I wanted it to be. So go back, do that. So yeah, it can be a bit of a domino effect here. You do one thing which brings your attention to something else, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it can be it'll be like that. All right. Get this corner cleaned up there. Okay. Now this little line right here, again, pain in the butt, because it's such a short pass, and it builds up material in the corner there. You have to constantly you know, clear that junk out of there. There we go. Very good, very good. Just get this corner cleaned out there. All right, perfect. All right, so last few outline scribes here. Start to bring this out of the corner. Alright, get this line to depth, and then we can start to nibble away at the front of this line to go just a little bit beyond the piece, so we have connecting points for our last line here for this operation. Oh yeah, there's a lot of buildup here in this corner. Oof. Yeah. So all that adds up a lot and can cause huge worries when you're scribing. Okay. Very good, very good. All right. Just make sure this side is a little proud of the piece. Just we want that line to extend past the piece slightly, right? That's essentially what we're trying to do here. Now, since this piece is at an angle, it doesn't have a hard edge for the chisel to kind of ride up against, so we got to do our best job staying straight with this line, and I think we did that, so looking good there. Just make sure these corners nice and sharp and clean. There we go. There we are. All right. Coming to a close here. All right. Sure, jolly good, jolly good. Let's get all this cleared out. Yeah. All right. Woo! Man, talk about neck strain. All right. So, yeah, see how that heavy shadow along the outlines look? That's exactly what we're going for. That heavy shadow line. Now, one thing that I'm sure, you probably noticed is I'm not going to be outline scribing this top piece, right? It's just, there's no use in it at this point because there's not a lot of tolerance on the other side. And plus, it kind of looks like this is hooking into, these two parts here. So leaving that untouched around the perimeter, at least on the top side of, this strip here, right? We've outlined it along the base, piece and everything, but that's more, for the whole composition rather than just this little guy. But you can see, yeah, I mean, see how that shadow catches that line? And the panel lining fluid is going to do the same thing. It's going to do the exact same thing. So, yeah. Good stuff. All right. Let's get caught up here, shall we? Let's see. Julius wants to know what the purpose of using all the different plastics. Yeah, it's a good call, right? Hendren says the KSP, according to Bandai, is cheaper, and if I'm not mistaken, is made of recycled polystyrene mixed with something else. They have them on their website. Interesting. Huh. Hendren says never do heavy sanding while you're tired. Oh, dude, right? I messed up the side vent on the Zeta Gundam head by sanding it
too damn much. Yeah, been there, done that, dude. Colin's with us. Mr. Hi, Craig. What's going on, dude? He has a question.
We have a question.
He says, are you wrapping around the panel line on the inside of the fin? Yeah, see, and I actually kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier, but yeah, so we got all this great detail on this side of the fin, right? And then nothing there. It's just completely blank, right? Now, mind you, we don't have a ton of room to work with on there because, you know, that big fatty vent is, you know, right there, and that doesn't provide a ton of clearance in there, right? So I figure what I told the chat earlier is what I'll do is probably take a 1/4 millimeter strip, the same width as this piece, and just kind of wrap that in, you know, just a straight line back to, you know, the original part here, and call it a day, and that'll be kind of our, you know, termination point for the detail and everything. But yeah, I had thought about that, Colin. So it's one of those things where I'm just like, oh shit, how am I going to do that? You know? So yeah, but, that is what we're going to do. So, but I will do that, at a later date. We got one more thing that I want to do here with this. Now, here's a good example of why this, I guess, KSP is crap, right? Let's see. All right, right there. All right, so you can see right here at the front, I tried to do like a big notch there, and it's just, it looks terrible. So I'm gonna fill that back in with super glue, call it a day, and be done with it. I'm not dealing with the, with this shit anymore, because this plastic is terrible to scribe into. So yeah, I'm just gonna fill that in so you don't even notice, you know, don't even see it's there. So that's one thing with the initial piece that I did that I am not going to be repeating on these other parts here. So we do have one more notch that we have to get cut in, but first, obviously, chisel discipline. And then we need to find, here we go, 0.30, and on the initial piece here, let's see if we can catch the shadow for you guys. Oh, where are you? Where are you? I love the bright lights, but man, they blow the highlights out of the water. All right, so right there, that little notch right on the edge of this upper piece, right? It wraps around, right? It wraps around the top onto the front of this piece here. Let's see. You can kind of see it there in the shadow, but it's not catching a lot of light there. So, but that's what we're doing. So this little top part is only 1 millimeter in width, and the chisel that we're using is 0.3. So we've got what, 0.7 millimeters to spare at that point, which is not a lot. It's not a lot. So this is a pretty delicate operation here. So we're gonna get into that here. All right. Shit, I'm sorry, you guys. Oh, for those of you that joined us during the stream, I overslept like crazy today and started the stream like a half hour late. So yeah, I'm still pretty tired right now, so sorry for the yawning. All right, let's get this going. Yeah, now first thing we're gonna do, I can't use a scribing jig, I can't use tape, I can't use any of that, right? So the only option here is to freehand this notch.
And we got to be super careful. Actually, I'm going to go in from this side because this will be a little bit easier. And so basically what I do is I just set my chisel on top of this piece and kind of find where I want the chisel to, or where I want the notch to be. And in this case, it's just going to be centered on this thing. And then pull back maybe 1/2 millimeter and just put the lightest of pressures. And slow and steady, just start to shave in. And I don't know if you guys can even see that little shaving of plastic there, right? That's exactly the amount of pressure that I'm putting on this thing. It's very, very delicate. Because at this point, what I'm trying to do is get the lines set in, and I'm also trying to be weary of this front edge, because if you put too much pressure or try to take, you know, too much material off, the edge will blow out on you and you'll have a mess to clean up and potentially have to redo that whole little part, which again, pain in the butt. So I do not want to do that. So I'm taking my time, I'm being delicate, and just very, very deliberate with you know, my movement and everything. All right, so we've got that edge set on the front edge of this piece. So now we're going to spin this thing around and just very, very carefully start to drag our chisel like normal. There we go. Now we're setting it. All right, we've got our edges set. We've got our corners set. Now we're just basically bringing this to depth. So just short little passes. Very slow, very deliberate, and we're just shaving off the tiniest bit of plastic here. There we go. Yeah. Very good. All right. So now we've got the top part of this notch set in. Now we have to wrap it around to the front. And let me see if I can show you guys here. Yeah, you can kind of see the shadow where it's catching the light. Yeah, see the little highlight underneath of where that notch is? That's kind of what we're talking about. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get caught up. Let's see. Handren says it just shreds whenever you try to scribe or chisel out a notch. Shitty way to save more money, Bandai. Dude, right? It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go back in and fill that in and take care of that part. Thankfully, I didn't duplicate that across the other 3 parts. So, yeah. Dave B has a question. He says, "Hi, Tim." Hey, folks. But he has a question.
We have a question.
He says, with the use of EcoPla and mixed plastics, wouldn't the effectiveness of Tamiya thin cement and plastic magic decrease? What would be a good substitute? See, I don't think that it would necessarily decrease, especially plastic magic, right? Because if you look at the plastic magic bottle, right there at the bottom, it says bonds ABS, styrene, and plastics other glues cannot, right? And essentially, you know, these are solvent based, so they're going to essentially, you know, break down the plastic enough to where it welds the two parts together. So even, you know, even with this KSP or whatever, this craptastic plastic as I call it, it glues perfectly fine. So I wouldn't really worry about adhesion or anything like that. So yeah, I would still continue using, you know, either Tamiya or, you know, in my case, Plastic Magic. That's what I really like, you know, that's my preference, I would say, right? So, Handren says, I have yet to deal with EcoPla. Same. And then Dave says, at least we have answer to ABS specific plastic. Seems Bandai didn't take this into account. Yeah, it is what it is. So, Mad Havoc, what's going on, dude? He's with us. He has a question.
We have a question.
First and foremost, thank you for watching Mad Havoc. But he says, I bought a Real Grade Tall Geese 3 and I accidentally chipped the wing piece that connects to the backpack. Should I use crazy glue to glue the chipped piece, or should I use Mr. Putty to fix it? Good question. Let's see. So let's unpack that, yeah? Because what I think we need to think about are, you know, more or less the specifics, right? Super glue, you have to remember, is brittle in smaller applications, especially trying to glue like seam to seam, right? Like, here, let me show you real quick. Got that. Okay, cool. So we have two strips of plastic here, right? And say we're trying to glue them edge to edge like this, right? Super glue would not be a good choice in this application, simply because the thinner surface area, the more likely it is for that super glue to you know, to fail, simply because it's brittle, because it doesn't melt these two pieces together. It just adheres them in a very strong way, mind you, but it doesn't melt or weld these pieces together in one. So that, you know, will fail. It'll break, basically like a Kit Kat bar, you know? Give me a break, right? Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Now I want a Kit Kat bar. God damn it. Anyway, so if it's, and mind you, I'm not familiar with the Real Grade Tall Geese. I've, you know, never built one or anything. But if it's like an edge to edge type of process that you're trying to go for, I would not use super glue at that point. I would probably revert to Tamiya Extra Thin, Plastic Magic if you have it. Putty is going to be the same type of thing. Putty doesn't bite into the plastic like a solvent does. It just sits on top, right? Now, mind you, very well, it adheres very well, but again, at small, you know, surface area applications, you know, putty, like 2-part epoxy putty or something like that, again, can become very brittle and just pop and like it's nothing. So in a small surface area applications, you know, similar to this, I would use a solvent based glue. Like I said, like Plastic Magic or Tamiya Extra Thin. Now, if it has a lot more surface area, then yeah, you can take your chances on using super glue or putty or something like that. Yeah, that would be my best advice for you. That would be my best advice. So, good question, though. Good question. Handren says, I noticed that Mr. Cement, excuse me, S and SP bonds ABS and other plastics like KSP well. Betting Plastic Magic does the same thing. So far, I've used it on ABS and it bonds well. Yeah, you know what? It's funny because with the Plastic Magic, I did testing, on this when I got my first bottle back in the day, right? Tested it on ABS, worked like a charm, zero issues, welded it perfectly, attached plastic, let me take that back, polystyrene to ABS, worked very well, no issues there. And then what I actually did is I had a scrap piece of acrylic, like clear acrylic, and I glued a piece of polystyrene to the scrap acrylic block that I had, and it was perfect. It glued wonderfully. So when they say bonds ABS, styrene, and plastic other glues cannot, yeah, that's no bullshit. That's real deal. That's real deal, and that's why I really prefer Plastic Magic over everything. So, Handren says the artifacts kits are all made from ABS, and the last one I worked on used Mr. Cement S. Ugh. Yeah, the new artifacts are interesting because they're bigger than the previous line. So I think they're 100 millimeter tall, something like that. Which, let's go back camera 2. Which what is basically like that, right? So decent sized. For an artifact kit, obviously. Shoot, that's what, a good 4 inches tall in Imperial. So not terrible. And I like the designs. I don't know if I'd ever work on one, but I like the designs. So, anywho. Brandon says, later, everyone. Brandon, take care, buddy. Thank you again for messaging me earlier. Matt Havoc says, thank you. Always, man. Always, always. It was a good question. So, definitely. All right, good deal. So, with that being said, let's continue on with this little notch here, and that's probably where we're gonna end it here today. I know I even started late, but you guys, I'm dragging ass right now. I'm so freaking tired. Uncle Tim needs a fucking nap, like a damn senior citizen right now. Oh shit. All right, let's go back to Super Zoom, yeah? All right, now we're back zoomed in here. Let's get this notch, this little bitty, itty bitty notch wrapped around the front edge of this thing. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the top notch as a guide, right? And so what I do is I rest my chisel right in that notch, right at the edge, and then I use that as a guide to start to push into the plastic with the chisel. And again, very, very slow going, very deliberate passes, because the last thing you want to do here is blow out the plastic with this little shit piece here.
There we go. Now we got some bite. The edge of the chisel wasn't biting into the plastic at first, and I just had to kind of find the right angle. Now we got it. Okay. Alright, so now we need to set the edge on the front part of this notch. There we go. Nice and square. Perfectly matched. Now we go to depth. Yeah, very nice. Very, very nice. All right, let's cap that. Chisel discipline. All right. So, let's see. Can we catch a shadow here? Oh, we just had it. We just had it. Oh, come on. There we go. There you go. There's that little notch right there. Let's go mega zoom, shall we? Let's see if that helps out a little bit. You can, yeah, I mean, it's not the clearest picture, obviously, because we're zoomed in so damn much, but still, you can kind of catch that shadow right there, right? That's a little bit better. Yeah. It's just, oh, see that? Look at that. See, you can kind of see it where it wraps around the front edge there. You can kind of see the shadows and stuff. Ooh, and there, right there, that's a good angle. You can kind of see the top, how that wraps around. Yeah. So, very cool. Good shit. Good shit. All right, let's go back to camera one. Let's get caught up in the chat. Let's see here. Henry says the original artifact is a big tackle, that's for damn sure, especially if you do the works to it. Definitely extreme difficulty, especially for us older seniors. Wow, yeah, the old fart. Sorry. Yeah. Let's see. Julia says, anyone going to see Mandalorian and Grogu movie this weekend? Oh man, I wish. You know, the bad thing is it got it's getting bad, well, not bad, but middling initial reviews, which is really disappointing, because it's like, why can't we just have nice stuff? Like, just let it be, let it run its course. Like, come on. But the good thing is like the critics are raving over the He-Man movie. Like, all of the reviews that I've seen, like from critics, for like, you know, the pre-release viewings and everything have been really good. Like, they all say like the movie leans into the 80s cartoon camp and kind of, you know, fun and everything, and they say it's very colorful, and there's jokes in there that kind of call back to the 80s cartoon and everything. So I'm kind of pleasantly surprised by that. You know, He-Man was one of my, I guess, big three back in the day, because it was He-Man, it was Transformers, and it was Thundercats. And if I wasn't, like, as a little kid, if I wasn't playing with one of those, it was a bad day. You know, it was a bad day. So, but yeah, the Mandalorian movie is getting middling pre-release reviews.
I'll hold my judgment until I see it, because I've loved everything Mandalorian thus far. So yeah, I have my hopes. Dave Filoni doesn't miss very much, so I think it's bullshit. But hey, you know. Matt Havoc says, "Not me. I watched the new Mummy movie last night and it was brutal." Oh, yes, I have that in my Plex queue. I downloaded that the other day. I'm waiting for Renee, my fiance, to get here on Monday because she's super into like horror movies and stuff. So, but that one looked great. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. It looks brutal. Oh, man. All right, cool. Now I'm hyped. Now I want to see it. Hell yeah. Matt Havoc says, "I'm waiting to see the new Hathaway movie." Yeah. I wish it came out on Netflix first, like the first one did. You know what I mean? Like, why flip the script, Bandai? Anyway. Julia says, "Looks great, Tim. Get a nap, bro." I'm right there. Excuse me. Let's see. Andrew says, "Haha, back at you." Oh, man. Matt Havoc says, "It's hard to believe the Gundam will be 50 years old next year." Dude, right? It's... Well, no, actually, it's at 2029. Yeah. It was... released in 1979. See, fuck, it's a year younger than I am. I just realized that. I'll be 50 when it comes out. Well, isn't that a sobering fact? Oh, man. Matt Havoc says, "I loved He-Man back in the 80s. Hell yeah. Henry says, "Oh, man, Thundercats." Yeah, dude. Thundercats. Thundercats. Yeah. Oh, that was my jam back in the day. Hell yeah. Even though Lion-O was a little bitch, but what are you going to do? Henry says, "I never understand why women in general love horror stuff. My wife is the same way. LOL." It's not all of them, dude. It's not all of them. Yeah, Renee's super into horror. She's super into the true crime shit, which I'm not into. Not even in the slightest. She'll listen to podcasts and watch documentaries and shit on the true crime stuff and just gets lost in it. And I'm like, oh crap, now I know where she's gonna hide my body. Anyway, Gragma's with us. What's going on, buddy? He says, "I remember Thundercats, Silverhawks, yes. Sam Joku! What's going on? New subscriber. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for being a part of the family. Welcome." But Gragma says, "I remember Thundercats, Silverhawks." Yeah, Silverhawks were dope. Yeah, Silverhawks had that cool theme song too. SWAT Cats, heard they are having a comeback. Ooh, interesting. I didn't get into SWAT Cats too much because they came a little later than some of the other 80s cartoons. So, all right, let's run down the list since we're being nostalgic here. And this is always fun. I always get a kick of nostalgia, right? So, all right. So, obviously, I mentioned the big three. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, Silverhawks. Awesome. Tiger Sharks. That was the third one from the Animal series, right? So you had Thundercats, Tiger Sharks, and Silverhawks, right? And I don't know if you guys have seen, but they have comics where they're crossing over Silverhawks and Thundercats together, and it looks awesome. I'm not into comics, but it just was really, really cool. And then what was it? Mask with the kind of the convertible vehicles and stuff, and they had the mask that had the powers and everything. Sky Commanders, those were fucking dope. Starcom, oh, love that. The animation that they did for Starcom was like second to none. I actually have the entire series on DVD that I bought back in the day and converted it to digital, and it's on my Plex server and everything. What else? Galaxy Rangers. Oh, that intro song, that still sticks with me. The intro song to Galaxy Rangers. If you're not familiar with it, go look it up. Best minute and a half of your life. Yo, there we go. There we go. There we go. Bionic 6. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut. Dave. Right there. Yes. Hell yeah. I don't know about the rest of the US, but Bionic 6 was only shown on like it was shown on the weekdays first, but that was short-lived, and then they moved it to like Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. Like, what fucking kid is up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning that's not a pure psycho? Like, I wasn't. Like, come on. Yeah, man. Going down memory lane, dude. Oh, shit. Charles Dodge says, don't worry, Tim, I turned 50 earlier this year. Oh, man. I know. Matt Havoc says, I'll be 50 next year. Yeah, see, we're all right there. We're all right there. We're children of the 80s. Yeah, we're children of the 80s. Sam Joku says, just finished Zeta Gundam before Hathaway. Hyaku Shiki was badass. Good series. Story was tough to digest. 7.8 out of 10. Still pretty good. Still pretty good. I dig it. I dig it. Hell yeah. Mighty Orbots. See, I never got into the Mighty Orbots. I know they were big, but I guess they didn't show it around where I lived, because I could never catch it, you know, at a decent time. I think it was one of those other shows that they showed at like 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm sleeping. That's not worth it. Matt Havoc says, I like the Hyaku Shiki's Mega Cannon. Yeah, it's a good design, right? It's good design. Henry says, Tim, remember Super Fridays, the Super Robots before Gundam? Like UFO Grindizer and Mazinga. Yeah, dude, I do remember those. Again, those were ones where they, around here anyways, and obviously it's regional. But here, that was another Sunday fucking cartoon. It was just like, come on. Seems like all the good ones were shown on Sunday, you know. They didn't have any faith in the anime back then. Matt Havoc says, I remember Mazinga Z. Yeah. I remember, because when I was in elementary school, like 3rd or 4th grade, I would catch Mazinga Z sometimes, and some of my other friends were really into it. And I don't know if you remember how in the original Mazinga Z, how the mech ran. It was terrible animation, but it ran like this, like you know, front angle, and it ran like this. It was so stupidly exaggerated. So, God, this is going to be embarrassing. But me and my friends, we would reenact that running, you know, like on the playground, like during recess and shit. So, yeah, we were doing like the kind of like the Naruto run thing before Naruto was even thought of. We were doing the Mazinga run. Oh yeah, fuck, those are some memories. Holy shit. Sigma says, what about Saber Rider? Saber Rider, I've never heard of that one. I guess they never showed it around, you know, around my area. Again, a lot of those syndicated cartoons back in the 80s were shown at different times, different days, at, you know, in different areas, right? So yeah, there wasn't a lot of that. So yeah, I've never heard of Saber Rider. I'm gonna have to look that up. Huh. But yeah, Dave B, Bionic 6. Oh, I had the toys. Do you remember the cat? Yeah, they were die cast, right? The action figures, they were made by Matchbox back in the day, and Matchbox, you know, obviously wasn't really famous for anything other than their little cars, right? So they mixed clear plastic with die-cast parts for the Bionic 6 action figures. And I swear to God, you could bludgeon somebody with some of those action figures. Like, they became weapons in the wrong hands. They were so heavy. Holy shit, I remember those, yeah. Gragma says, Visionaries! Yes! I didn't get too much into Visionaries, but I always liked the concept, right? Visionaries were fucking dope. Hell yeah. Mad Havoc, Zoids. See, that's another one that didn't get a lot of play around me. I didn't find Zoids until right around the time that I found Gundam, and that was, you know, early 2000s. So, yeah. Oh shit, how could I forget this one? Voltron. Yeah, hands down. Hands down. Lions, not the vehicles. The vehicles sucked. Those were terrible. But yeah, the main Lions, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Mad Havoc says they made a Voltron movie. They're making a Voltron movie. It's Henry Cavill. And I forget who else is in that. But yeah, evidently that's going straight to Amazon. Straight to streaming, which doesn't bode well, if I'm being honest. We'll see. We'll see. Giovanni, he says 48 this June. Yeah, I'm right there, man. I'm 48 myself. February. So, yeah. Mad Havoc says, I think they have model kits for the Mazinga Z and Grendizer, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, they have probably many of ththose model kits throughout the year, and resin kits, plastic kits, all of that stuff. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Sam Juko says, I'm currently in my 20s, man. Never heard of these shows. Would love to dabble on some of these retro shows, though. Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah, now, mind you, Sam. We are spitting poetic about nostalgia. So if you were to go back and watch these shows today, it would basically be the same as watching the original Mobile Suit Gundam series, right? So you have to take that in consideration. There's going to be a lot of camp, like a lot of campy, you know, phrasing and script writing and everything, and it's just going to be like, oh man, what? Because going back and watching some of these shows, you know, as an older adult, it's just like, really? Like, we fell for that shit? Like, that's what was enjoyable to us back in the day? But yeah, man, you have to look at it through the lens of, you know, an elementary school kid. And yeah, so take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. But they were classic. I mean, they established, you know, pop culture, you know, around that time. It was so good. Yeah, so good. Let's see. Matt Havoc says, I'm thinking of ordering one of them in the near future. Hell yeah, dude. Go for it. Go for it. Lorenz says, Voltes V and Transformers is what got me into Mecha as a kid. Same. And remember GoBots? GoBots got the short end of the stick in the transforming, you know, robot battles. GoBots were, you know, licensed, you know, for over here, just like, you know, Transformers were licensed to show over here and make toys and everything. The GoBot toys were way less quality and way more janky than the Transformers toys. And I think that's what did them in. The cartoon itself wasn't terrible. It was a little bit more kid-friendly, so it may not have hit with a wider audience. Transformers were definitely more of a mature, you know, type of, you know, show, you know, within that genre of cartoons, right? But yeah, GoBot's got the short end of the stick. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. was a galactic western. Was pretty good. See, that sounds like Galaxy Rangers. I wonder if that wasn't just like maybe a like a rebrand. You know what? Let me find that out. Let me see. Let me go on a field trip. Hang on. Saber Rider. Let's see what we... And the Star Sheriffs. There it is. Saber Rider. Oh, no. That... Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Oh, yeah, so no, it was not the same. So I'm looking at the wiki page. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs is an animated television space western similar to the series The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers and Brave Star. I remember Brave Star. I was never into it, but yeah, Brave Star came right around that time too. He had the talking horse and everything, and I don't know, I couldn't get into it too much. Couldn't get into it. Oh, here's one I forgot about. Hell yeah. Lelouch with the Centaurians. Yeah. The Centaurians were great. Oh, yeah. And see, and that was another kind of mech inspired type of show. Oh, that was so good. Defenders of the Earth. Centurions and the Defenders of the Earth are a little of what I know of older shows. Yeah. Oh, Centurions were great. Loren says GoBots. Transformians were a bit unique too in comparison to your standard car former. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. And then Loren says, have you gotten into Kamen Rider, Tim? No. See, and that was another one that I think kind of showed at weird times, like super early in the morning on a Sunday or some crap like that around here. But I don't know if I would have been into it anyways, because I never really liked those kind of live action style kids shows. I was always into the animated stuff. Always into the animated stuff. Let's see, what else do I have on my Plex server right now? Oh, the old school Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, if you guys remember that. That ended on a cliffhanger, and they never got out of the Dungeons and Dragons realm. Those poor kids are probably still there. That was good. Dino Saucers. Yeah, Dino Saucers. That was a good one. I have that entire series on my Plex server. What else do I have on the Plex? Let's see. Now I'm like curious since we're all reminiscing here, right? Let's see. Okay, Dino Saucers, Centurions, Dungeons and Dragons, Silverhawks, Galaxy Rangers, Starcom. Those are the entire series that I have currently on my Plex that I couldn't find on any place else, like streaming services or anything like that. So yeah. Henry says the Big O needs a remake / new season. That was kind of an interesting show. Yeah, I would not hate that. Let's see. Sam Joku says, I grew up on the Transformer movies by Michael Bay. I sat through some episodes of the original animated series with my friend. I still see some charm to it, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. And that's the thing. Once you see, I guess, the live action, like the Bay former movies and everything, I mean, you see the adult, mature take on, you know, the subject, right? So it's hard to revert back to the campy style of it. So I totally understand that. And even when I go back and look at some of these animated shows, and I'm just like, oh man, this is hard to watch. So yeah, no, dude, Sam, I totally get it. I totally understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah. Let's see, Robotech. I watched Robotech like every now and then because again, another one that they showed on early morning Sunday mornings, and they never showed the damn show in order, right? And if you know about Robotech, you know it's like Macross and two other, Japanese series all kind of together. So if you missed an episode or if they didn't play it in the correct order, you're like, wait, what show is this? This looks completely different from what I just watched last week, right? So that was my problem back in the day with Robotech. I couldn't get into it because they played it out of order, and I just didn't know what the hell was going on. So, yeah. Let's see. Henry says, Tim, does Plex still work? I used to use it to watch the CW shows like Arrow and The Flash on TV. Oh, hell yeah, dude. So back in and mind you, I only use it for like my own media. Like I got movies and shows and shit, downloaded out the wazoo. So I use it for that. And I don't use it for really streaming too much else. I've maybe actually streamed a movie or a show on Plex through their service. Maybe I could count it on one hand. And I've had the service, God, for probably over 10 years now. I bought a lifetime pass back in the day. Yeah, I mean, my Plex is stacked with movies and shows and stuff like that. So, yeah, Plex is great. Jellyfin is kind of a free alternative, which is also very, very good. So, yeah, like I said, I bought the lifetime pass way back in the day, way before Jellyfin was even a thing. Yeah, it's basically like a media server, like your own private Netflix. It's great. So, yeah. Giovanni says Mask was pretty cool. Mask was awesome. And I like how they're kind of starting in the comics to cross over Mask and G.I. Joe together. I like that. I like that idea. Matt Havoc says they have a video on YouTube for the cliffhanger for Dungeons and Dragons show. Oh, man, I gotta see that then. Yeah, because those kids were left hanging, dude, in that fucking Dungeons and Dragons realm. Their parents are still like, oh my god, where's my baby? So, Henry says, you mean Macross? LOL, don't let Tex hear you say Robotech, right? Yeah. Lelouch says, I was a Power Rangers kid. Oh man, see, and that was another one. Like I said before, I couldn't really get into the live action kids shows. But I watched a little bit of Power Rangers. I dabbled in it. I didn't really get into it, but I dabbled. Sigma says, I never saw Macross, but I recently heard it was a mix from 3 different shows. Yeah, I forget what the other 2 shows were. They weren't as popular as Macross. And I'm sure, somebody in the chat knows what the 3, or the 2 other shows were. But yeah, I can't remember because there was one where they had like armored suits like Iron Man, but they turned into like motorcycles or something like that, which was always weird to me, because the animation style was completely different from Macross too. And it's just like, how are you gonna sell this to a kid being the same thing? Hang on one second. Woo! Whew. That'll wake you up in the morning. Holy shit. Huh. Sorry about that, you guys. But yeah, Robotech is one of those things where I just couldn't get into it. I wanted to, but I just couldn't because they showed it out of order and I couldn't follow it. So, yeah. Giovanni says Mask toys are getting reissued, but the price, oh my god, they are going to be expensive. Dude, right? I've seen some of the reissues. And mind you, I had, like back in the day, I, like 1 year for Christmas, like the Mask toys were all I wanted, right? So my mom got me like the big rig truck, which was fucking dope as shit. and you know, had the red car, you know, Matt Tracker's, you know, Trans Am. Had a couple of the smaller vehicles too. I had the plane, the jet that turned into a helicopter, which for the life of me now, looking back as an adult, it's like, why those two? But Miles Mayhem, that was the guy's name, the main villain. He was head of Venom. Miles Mayhem, that was his name. Had that plane, had a few other of the vehicles and stuff too. But yeah, the big rig. Oh man, that was awesome. Getting that as a kid. But yeah, they're reissuing that. I saw the reissue of the big rig, and they want like $250 for that thing. I'm like, yeah, nah, not happening. Not that I need it, but still, just saying. Let's see. Lorenz says Spider-Man and Batman, the animated series. Oh man, the OG Batman animated series, super dark, very stylized back in the day, high quality. Never got into any of the Spider-Man shows though. Never got into any of that. Hendren says, all that plastic dust, something got me. Lorenz says, I think there's a third-party company that makes mask vehicles with fully articulated figures. Actually, I think those are the reissues. Who was it? Was it Mattel? Or was it Hasbro? One of them is no longer. I think it was Mattel that got bought out. Or was it the other way around? Fuck it, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they're getting reissued and, you know, all that stuff. Oh, man. Yeah, that's one I forgot. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. How could you forget Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Little later, kind of 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I think, if I remember correctly, for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I was kind of getting closer to my kind of preteen, kind of teenage years during that time. So I wasn't heavy into it for a long time. I kind of grew out of it as the show still aired and everything. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they were great back in the day. Man. Oh, who remembers Cops? Cops. Not the show, not the crime show, Bad Boys, not that Cops, but Cops, COPS. It was a super futuristic cops and robbers show. The animation was amazing. Storylines were kind of crap, but the animations were awesome. Yes, Dave B. Yes, Bulletproof. Yeah, Dave. Hell yeah. He was the main, like the leader of the cops. Yes. He Bulletproof was the leader, and then Big Boss, I think, was the main villain, and then the one that always got me was Misdemeanor. Like, come on, the wordplay was great. The one guy had a robotic dog because he was a canine unit, right? Long arm. Dude, see? Hell yeah. See, Dave knows what I'm talking about here. Hell yeah. Henry, Heathcliff and Garfield. Ugh. I mean, I used to watch a little Garfield, I won't lie, every now and then when I was bored as shit, but Heathcliff was, nah, that was butt cheeks. Julia says, oh yeah, I remember the Cops cartoon. Hell yeah. Long arm. Fuck yes, let's go. Bowser and Blitz. Dave with the deep cuts. Holy shit. Briggsy says, I remember hearing they were bringing it back, Cops. Really? That would be freaking dope. I would love that. Let's see. Sam Joku says, in my region, the only retro shows that aired were the Boomerang shows like Scooby-Doo, Jetsons, Yogi Bear, some Japanese anime seep through. Yeah, like the Hanna-Barbera shows and stuff like that. You know, especially like Jetsons, Yogi Bear, all that. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, remember? Oh man, it was on the Cartoon Network. No, it wasn't the Cartoon Network. It was the USA Network. It was the Cartoon Express. That was on later in the day on Saturdays, at least in my area, and it had like the old school, like real old school cartoons. It had like Space Ghost and Thundar, that weird family with the pets and stuff, like the alien pets and everything, that were like space barbarians and all that. I forget what the name of that is called. Inhumanoids? Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I remember watching, the Cartoon Express. Oh, back in the day, that was good times. Lelouch, he says, "Hey Tim, what actually got you into modeling in general?" Man, good question. So, as if you couldn't tell, I've always been a fan of, the mech, style cartoons and IPs and everything. Transformers, GoBots, Voltron, Centaurians, Cops had, some kind of futuristic mechanized things involved, Mask, to a point, Thundercats, Silverhawks, Tiger Sharks, and even like G.I. Joe a little bit here and there. So I've always kind of been into, that mechanical, robotic type of genre, and I always, gravitated toward that, right? And had all the toys and everything. I remember the first Transformer that I got, my mom knew what they were, but she'd never, kind of messed around with it or anything like that. And she's sitting there, she's just like, okay, well, hang tight, let me read the directions on how to transform this thing. And she's sitting there, she's reading the directions, yada, yada, yada. And by the time she finishes, I got the fucking thing transformed. I'm like, here, she's like, how'd you do that? I'm like, it just seemed the right way to do it. So anyway, but so I was always into mechs and stuff like that, giant robots. So fast forward, I'm in my 20s, living with my ex at the time. We were not married. Had our first apartment. I'm sitting at home on a Saturday and just flipping around the channels, and I end up on an episode of Gundam Wing on Cartoon Network, right? So I'm like, whoa, what's this? This looks amazing. And it had every aspect of, mechs that I was kind of, thought of, that was, nostalgic to me. Especially Wing Gundam. Like, it had the wings, and it had the bright colors, and it had the head fin, like all of it, the giant weapon, like all of it just clicked at a perfect time for me. So I kept watching, and then they started showing commercials for the models and stuff, right? So I was just like, wait a minute, models? Like, I could have a representation of this thing on my desk or something? Like, that's cool. So at the time, they sold the models in Toys R Us here at, in the US. So went out, found a couple at my local Toys R Us, bought them, brought them home. I think the very first, it was probably the Mercurius. Yeah, Mercurius and the V8. Those were the first two that I got, because I think those are the only two that they had in stock. And they were the shitty 144 kind of no grade models and everything. So brought those home, got cheap, super shitty acrylic paints from the or not even the hobby store, but like from the craft store, and crappy plastic brush, and I just started hand brushing my first models, and they were terrible. Terrible. Was super into it at the time. I was just like, this is fucking cool. So started looking online, and found the online forums. Now, mind you, this is before social media, but found the online forums or message board for Gundam.com. And back then, it was owned by just a private person. He went by Amuro. We never knew his name or anything like that, but he was the admin for the site and all that, and message board and everything. And if you were, a native English speaker, from the UK or from the US, Canada, what have you, Gundam.com was your only, kind of source, if you will, right? So just started, lurking on there for maybe a year or so, and just kind of gradually got more into it, and then just took the full plunge, and here we are, 26 years later, still making cool shit. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into modeling. So yeah. Hendren says 1999 is the year I saw it on Cartoon Network. I was like, hot damn, what is this, right? Matt Havoc says Gundam Wing was what got me into Gundam. Yeah, that's a lot of us, especially over here in the States, Canada, UK. Yeah. Lelouch says Tim's origin story. Yeah, totally. Hendren says I was already into building cars and military kits like jets. Once I saw a Wing Zero at Kmart. Oh my God, that's a deep cut. I haven't thought about Kmart in forever. I was like, hell yeah, nice. Matt Havoc says my first Gundam model was the Wing Gundam. He says I forgot what happened to it. Yeah, I have my my very first fully painted, panel lined build, and that was the 1/100 no grade Wing Gundam from back in the day. And it's around here somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is, or else I'd show it to you. And I've showed it on live streams in the past, and it is terrible. It is tragic. But it was the first one that I really kind of went all in on, right? And it was kind of a milestone, little did I know at the time, right? So, man. Hendren says Hobby Fanatics forums. Yeah. There was Hobby Fanatics, I remember. That came later. But it was Gundam.com, Hobby Fanatics. There was a shop. Oh, God. Was it GundamShop.com? Something like that? I forget. But, those were kind of like the big three message boards back in the day. That's taking it back. Mbuck Games, he says, my first was Tall Geese, and then all of the rest of those crappy wing models. I was in middle school when I built those, still have all of them. Oh man. See, that's a good reminder of kind of where you got started too, right? Save those. Hell yeah. Briggsy says, I tried re-watching Gundam Wing once, but never made it past the Earth part. Earth part of it. Back then, the mobile suit in action figures were better to me than the kits. Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot the MSIA figures. Yeah, they were popular back in the day, weren't they? Holy shit. Got them from Toys R Us too. Yeah, I think everybody did back then. That's back when they showed that those cringy commercials like, what level are you? Right? And then they would show the model, and then, somebody would be like, level 4, 3 hours, some shit. And if you look on YouTube, you can find that Gundam commercial from back in the day. Oh man, that was such a sorry attempt to try and lure, U.S. kids into model making. It was super cringy, super cringy. Even back then, it was super cringy. Ugh. Briggsy says they had them at Walmart when I was a kid. Yeah, hell yeah. Lelouch says Gundam 00 is what got me to build and code Gaius. Gaius? I don't know how you say it. Whatever. Henry says, still got most of the 144 Wing Zero. Nice. Mad Havoc says, I remember having Wing Gundam and Death Sice. It's funny. I actually have a handful of the no-grade 1/100 models still in the backlog. And I think... Alright, so it's up here. Yeah, probably back in those shadows where you guys can't see. But yeah, there's still a bunch of the 1/100 no grades back there. Yeah. Briggsy says before master grade kits, they had 1/100 high grades and then later made them master grades. Essentially, yeah, essentially. Henry says actually when Bandai America was calling it quits at the start of the 2000s, they had a lot of them on sale at Big Lots for like $10 each, master grade kits, that is. Oh, man, that reminds me. That was right around the time of the great Amazon and Toys R Us sell-off, right? And I actually have still, I still have models from back then, with the level badge on it and everything. Fuck, it's in there somewhere. I'm not gonna worry about showing it to you. But I've got a couple Camphors that I bought. Those were like $10 a piece. That I was just like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Master Grade Ground Gundam. I think that's the one that had the badge, the level badge on it, and he's somewhere over there. And then I got the perfect grade Wing Zero custom, and that was $30 back during the great sell-off. Yeah, I remember that well. Holy shit, man, oh man. Mad Havoc says I gotta log off for the afternoon, but I hope everyone will have a good day. Mad Havoc, man, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with us, and come back tonight if you have a chance too. So good stuff, good stuff. Take care, man. Henry says still have several with the skill numbers. Yeah, nostalgic. Henry says, Tim, actually that master grade Zeta I'm working on is my first master grade I bought back in 2000 at Hobbytown. Oh, Jesus. He says, I got 10 master grade kits with the skill badges. Jesus. Ay. Briggsy says, everyone hated the ads, but I liked them. If I'm not mistaken, the ads are one of the reasons Bandai quit the US sales, plus what Walmart and Toys R Us were doing with them. Yeah. And that was the thing, like, back in the day when you went to look for the model kits, like, they were shoved at the end on the bottom shelf or something like that. I remember, right? Because, like, I was in my early 20s. I would think I was, like, 21, 22, going into Toys R Us, and I'm like, where the fuck are these model kits? Like, they're hyping these model kits. Like, where are they? And then I finally... just in passing, I'm looking down and I'm like, oh, they're all the way at the bottom here at the very end of the aisle. And not like the end cap, but like at the end portion of the aisle. So it's like, how's anybody going to see that, So not great merchandising. So yeah, that was a giant cluster back in the day, that marketing push. Yeah, and they thought they cooked with that commercial. They really thought they cooked, but they did not. That went over like a brick, a lead brick, man. Bandai hated the US ads from what I heard. Oh, I don't blame them. I would too, especially with the the rat shit sales. So yeah, what's your level? Yeah, level 69. That's why Bandai America went under. Yeah, yeah. Briggsy says the MSIA were bigger sellers. They had more of them out. Yeah, and they had the clean versions, and then they had the battle damaged versions too. So I remember those. A lot of the kids, younger kids, were more into that. But yeah, I always wanted the bigger representation. So the model kits just kind of appealed to me more, you know. So that's what I got into. So, but all right, you guys. Timmy's tired. Timmy needs a nap. Timmy needs a nap. So I'm gonna go lay down for a little bit. Sorry for starting late, but I think we made up for it here with this extra 45 minutes. So all right, you guys, come on back tonight. We're gonna continue working on the Shiki, and we're just gonna keep pushing forward here. So with that being said, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Come on back tonight, hang out with us, talk, chat, all that good stuff, reminisce. And just be safe out there. Go build something cool, and we'll see you tonight. Bye, guys.